The dark web's new deadliest drug. New drug, new drug. Never seen this one before.
Isotonitazine. It's part of a whole group of substances called nitazines. And this tiny amount is enough to kill. Over the past few years, these drugs have been
fentanyl. Fentanyl was like that for a long time now.
A perfect storm is brewing, caused by a political power shift in Afghanistan, changing smuggling routes, and the emergence of clandestine Chinese laboratories pushing new and harder synthetic drugs. Drugs that are cheaper, sometimes openly available on the clearnet, and more potent than almost anything we've seen before. Is Europe ready?
A drug stronger than fentanyl has to be crazy. It has to be one of the most deadliest drugs. If it's stronger than fentanyl, that's a hard intro, I'm not gonna lie. I cooked with this one. The Taliban connection.
This is Ahmed. He's a fictional character based in a variety of reporting. And this is his farm, located in the northern Helmand region of Afghanistan. Like many others across the country, he settled a patch of desert. 10 years ago, 3 hectares cost him just $5,400. Since then, he's gradually turned this patch of arid land into a productive plot that provides for him, his wife, and their 9 children. But it wasn't easy.
Wasn't Afghanistan known for exporting opium or poppy? Poppy is opium, I believe. Yeah, weren't they known for that shit?
First, the dry earth had to be cleared and leveled. Ahmed doesn't have access to irrigation from a local water source like the Musakala River, so he also had to dig a 120-meter deep well. That cost him $3,600. Instead of relying on expensive diesel fuel to power his pumps, he invested another $10,000 in installing a solar array. He even dug a large pond to store the groundwater he'd use on his crops.
For all those who were curious like me, here's the conversion. $6,000, which is a rough amount because he spent like $5,300. Then I think he's going to mention some more. It goes to 378,000 Afghani. Yes, that is their currency, Afghani.
With the average daily income of an Afghan farmer being about $5 to $10 US, you might well ask, how exactly
is he getting all this
pay
money?
For all this?
Where the cheese coming
Ahmed
from?
Grows poppies.
What did I say? Did I not say wasn't Afghanistan known for exporting opium? I fucking said it, but knowing random things is so funny because situations like this happen. Crazy.
He's the first link in the supply chain that turns this flower into opium and opium into heroin.
I literally called it, bro.
Since 2003, Afghanistan has consistently produced 70% of the world's opium.
70%?
And up to 90% of Europe's supply. For farmers like Ahmed, it's essential for survival. Every year, he uses 2/3 of his plot to grow poppies. The rest he fills with just enough wheat to feed his family. Most years, his crop yields around 140 kilos of opium, including 20 kilos he can set aside for a rainy day. But that's all about to change.
Nah, they hold my man, bro. He's just trying to feed his family.
Returned to power. 7.5 months later, they make poppy cultivation illegal.
Probably it's only illegal for like the average citizen to farm it. They probably still deal because I know they still make it. They have a 90% market stronghold in Europe. Do you understand what 90% is in drugs? Fuck drugs, bro. In anything. Example, imagine if Apple had a 90% phone market in the US. That means almost everyone you see in the entire US would have an iPhone. Do you think these people will ever give it up? No, that's just bad business, bro. Even though, I understand drugs, but that's just bad, bro. 90% market share? Hell nah, bro. You know them Taliban still kept that shit, bro.
Experts say they're distancing themselves from a trade they previously participated in hope of securing political recognition as well as financial and humanitarian aid. Others claim they're artificially raising prices in order to profit from their own stockpiles. Either way, people in Afghanistan are skeptical.
I would be skeptical too, bro.
Food in your house, and your children are going hungry, what else will you do? If we grew wheat instead, we won't earn enough to survive.
This isn't the first time the Taliban have done this. After securing control of the majority of the country in 2000, they put a similar ban in place, resulting in a 90% reduction in opium cultivation in 2001.
Damn.
Within a year, the price for a kilo of dried opium skyrocketed from $30 to over 300, with the shortage.
Oh my gosh, they squeezed.
Instead, the United States invaded Afghanistan. The year after that, poppy cultivation bounced back.
They were squeezing, the Taliban was squeezing, bro.
Ahmed, like many farmers, anticipated the ban. The total area used for poppy cultivation grows by 32%. Farmers are allowed to harvest and sell their opium before a full ban comes into effect. As a result, the 2022 crop is the third largest since records began. Opium stores swelled, including Ahmed's.
Hey, shout out to
By
Ahmed,
November,
man.
prices
Just
are
trying to
as high
feed
as
his family.
$475 per kilo. Farmers' income from opium sales triples. The UNODC,
I mean,
United
obviously it's
Nations
bad
Office on
because,
Drugs
you know,
and
that
Crime,
leads to
estimates
heroin,
that
but
opiate stocks in Afghanistan total up to
you know what I mean.
13,200 tons that year. 60% is likely held by organized crime groups, with the rest belonging to farmers. All in all, it's probably enough to meet the demand for Afghan opiates until 2027. For Ahmed, that's plenty of time to wait for the ban to lift or loosen and for things to go back to normal. For experts in Europe, it's time to jump into action.
Hi, I'm Daniel Brombacher. I'm the director of the Europe Observatory of Organized Crime at the Global Initiative Against
Holy,
Transnational
what a
Organized
job
Crime.
title.
We provide
Long-ass job
analysis to the
title.
broader public, to governments, to interested partners about what's happening on the ground in organized crime.
For Daniel and his colleagues, Afghanistan's poppy ban is deeply concerning.
Everyone in Europe was afraid of a potential influx in the traditional heroin market that is linked to Afghanistan with
And you know what's crazy? The European government has a valid reason for fearing an influx of drugs like, well, at this point, heroin. Because if y'all remember remember when spice was taking over Europe, bro? That shit, bro, I remember that shit, bro. It's one of those things you don't forget when you watch a documentary, bro. If you remember Spice, bro, let me know, bro. Like, Europe really had its own kind of fentanyl situation like America's facing right now. But it was Spice instead of fentanyl. Like, they really have a valid reason to be concerned about an influx of drugs because Spice took over for a minute, bro.
synthetic opioids.
In the past, heroin shortages in European countries like Estonia, Hungary, or Finland have led users to start consuming synthetic alternatives like fentanyl
Spice.
or cathinones.
Spice is also synthetic, bro. It's I think, and don't take this as fully true because I don't remember that well. But it's synthetic weed. I think that's how it was going around in Europe, but it was synthetic weed or the chemicals or something.
Heroin supply drops and user demand stays consistent. Organized crime groups take advantage of these supply shocks to introduce more profitable drugs.
Bro, and they add
So we
nonsense.
thought, okay,
Synthetic
we
shit,
have
bro,
to
is all
look
nonsense.
into this issue, and we need to monitor illicit markets to see, do synthetic opioids actually show up there? Have they maybe already entered supply chains for illicit drugs in Europe? And what are the dynamics behind this market, if there is any market already?
While many questions remain, one thing becomes clear. This ban is different. The Afghan poppy industry doesn't bounce back like it did the first time. Ahmed's home province of Helmand, which
I wonder
accounted for over
why.
half of Afghanistan's poppy cultivation, is rendered virtually poppy-free. Europe's heroin supply is almost entirely cut off at the source. At this
Damn.
point, you might assume that Europe's drug scene would be flooded with synthetic alternatives, but the flood never comes.
So the heroin market has actually never been sustainably disrupted. Massive heroin markets like here in Germany are still readily supplied, most probably because of existing stockpiles of heroin and opium.
They had so much poppy that they're still running off stock. This was 2022, 2023, I think, is what they were referring to, the times they were referring to. But earlier they did say they had enough stock for until like 2027 if they wanted to, I think. That is absolutely insane. That's how much they made. That's how much Afghanistan alone as a country made.
Have in Afghanistan. and along the traditional trafficking routes.
Stockpiles of opium from farmers like Ahmed are softening the blow. Heroin purity in Europe has generally plummeted and can range from 5 to 40%, but prices and availability have remained relatively stable. So far,
Yeah,
there's no sign of
they
a
started
drastic
adding
impact
other
like the
shit to
ones
heroin,
experts
bro.
warned about,
They started
but that
lacing it
shouldn't
with other
create a
shit.
false sense of security.
And funny enough, that's when it's the most dangerous. When any drug is not highly pure, that's when it starts getting more dangerous.
There's a lot of guessing around
And I
that,
hope all
but
those
let's
people
say
get help, bro.
if heroin
You really do hope
continues
everybody gets
to
help.
be scarce and maybe the stockpiles are depleted at some point, then yes, we may have a way stronger impact than we would think of now.
So we asked ourselves, what happens if the situation gets worse? Compared to the US, Europe hasn't had an opioid crisis. The first wave of the American epidemic was supply-driven. It started when pharmaceutical opioids like OxyContin were aggressively marketed and overprescribed. The second wave came when these prescriptions were largely cut off, pushing former patients to start using heroin. This snowballed into the third and deadliest wave, when fentanyl entered the
All
drug
based off, those are painkillers, right? Oxycontin is painkillers. Perks led people to using heroin. Oh my gosh, bro.
supply. Europe largely avoided this path through stricter prescription practices, stronger, more socially oriented healthcare, better treatment, and harm reduction
Hey
services.
man, the EU knows how to do certain things right, but they also know how to do certain. Like I feel like it's kind of balanced in a way. You know, there's some good, some bad, but some countries, bro, the bad outweighs the good that they do. And unfortunately for this, it has to be America. And I'm talking specifically about medication. Like the overprescription of painkillers in America is crazy, bro.
For over 3 decades, fentanyl's presence in Europe has remained small and geographically limited. But now there are new challenges. It looks like Afghan heroin isn't coming back, and flexible competitors are quick to fill the gaps. Clandestine drug labs in China, India, and Russia produce an array of synthetic opioids, drugs like fentanyl and nitazines.
Nitazines.
At least
What are
21
those?
EU member states have already found nitazines in their drug supply. Nitazines often contaminate drugs like heroin or oxycodone, and sometimes more common drugs like cocaine, Xanax, ketamine, and ecstasy. In the UK, they've even been found in vape liquids and illegal...
What? What? All the more reasons to avoid vapes. Children targeted with vapes spiked with nitazines. But what we do know is that young people across the UK have been falling seriously ill after inhaling drugs like spice. I did say spice is a big thing. And nitazines, a synthetic drug similar to heroin, but many times more potent. Fuck my life, bruv. Yo. And I don't understand why vapes are popular, bro. Vapes, their peak was 2018, 2017. I thought we left all that shit behind. I don't know how they're coming back. I don't know how people are getting addicted again. I thought we dealt with that shit in 2017, 2018, bro. Remember when there were competitions for vaping? Y'all remember that? Are y'all even that old to remember that vaping had competitions where people were going on stage doing tricks with smoke? Do you even remember those times, bro? That was it. That was the peak of this whole shit, bro. I hate that it's coming back.
nasal sprays. So far, relatively few deaths seem to be linked to nitazines, just a few hundred in most countries. But these numbers might not be entirely accurate.
In Germany, last year and this year, we have had the historically highest numbers of overdose deaths. These numbers are far
2,000
away from
cases.
what has happened in the US, but still they are high comparatively. But then if you only conduct an autopsy in 50% of the cases, and that has been the case in Germany, then how do you actually know what people took? The opioid quick scan
the number
would
could be
not
double,
differentiate
triple.
or would not tell you this was heroin, or this was oxycodone, or this was nitazine. So we don't actually know how it's going.
In September 2024, the director of the European Agency for Drugs issued a call to action. He explicitly warned against the very real risk of remaining complacent during this buffer
True.
period.
True.
Without a visible crisis like the one in the US, governments aren't forced to prepare. This false sense of security is only made worse by the novelty of nitazines, substances that most experts don't know they should test for or how to effectively treat. Names that most people, including you, have probably never heard before this video.
Let me see. Let me see what I actually know from this. I don't know this one. I don't know this one. I mean, fentanyl is there. I know that one. Don't know this one. I don't know that one. Oh yeah, I know nothing of these drugs. But at the same time, they're using their scientific name, and a lot of people don't really pay attention to the scientific names.
Drugs that seemingly came out of nowhere. Or did they?
1 milligram could kill you. Crazy, bro.
This is the Pharmaceutical Research Laboratory of chemical company Ciba in Basel, Switzerland. Here, chemists are experimenting with a largely unexplored compound, benzimidazole.
This is also how fentanyl started out, by the way. It started out simply of a scientist, I believe, was trying to find a strong painkiller, made fentanyl, and then, well, now look at fentanyl. Everywhere people are using it as drugs. That's how it is. Not too sure if my story is 100% correct, but I'm pretty sure 85% it's correct. 85%. Give me 85.
First synthesized in 1872.
Polymarket
its
that.
therapeutic potential wasn't recognized until the 1950s.
Put that on Polymarket. I bet
Intrigued
you'd
by the
win.
compound,
85%
the Ciba
correct.
team conducts some novel experiments. They focus on creating benzimidazole derivatives as opioid painkillers. They take a benzimidazole ring as a scaffold and bind an ethylamine at its first position and a benzyl group at its second position. This way, they produce 2-benzyl benzimidazole. With only minor structural modifications to this scaffold, the chemists can produce a wide variety of analog substances. That means they each have a unique chemical structure.
So it's basically a synthetic of a synthetic. If I'm understanding this correctly, if you create one and you slightly alter it, it becomes a new thing and it becomes a whole different synthetic. And that's why I think it's so difficult in trying to combat this, or scientists are finding it difficult to study, the drug, because there's multiple versions, there's multiple clones of it, but not really clones because they are their own thing.
But potentially similar effects. The team has successfully synthesized a new class of opioids, broadly labeling them nitazines.
Crazy, a copy of a copy that becomes original.
The chemists conduct a toxicity test. They test how many milligrams of morphine per kilo of body weight is needed to kill half a test population of mice. It's 200 milligrams. Then they conduct the same test using the nitazine compound. A 1 milligram dose does the job.
Oh my
The drug
gosh.
they've created is 200 times more potent than morphine.
Oh
and
my
5 to 10
gosh.
times more potent than fentanyl.
Oh my gosh. What did I say in the beginning? This shit is stronger than fentanyl, bro. Europe is cooked. And if Europe is cooked, how long do you think this is waiting to get into the USA, bro? Fentanyl is already a problem. If this shit is somehow cheaper, those people who you guys call zombies, those humans out there who are struggling, bro, those people who are struggling out there, bro, they're about to go through hell, bro. Oh my gosh, bro. This is nasty work.
Some analogs are over 40 times more potent. The team agrees that this extreme
nasty
potency
work.
makes it especially difficult to dose. This leads to what the medical field calls a narrow therapeutic window. One small miscalculation and the patient could become addicted or die.
Damn.
Its unique chemical structure further complicates medical use as it behaves differently than other opioids. When certain analogs like isotinidazine degrade in the body, they release an active metabolic compound in the brain that's even more potent than the parent drug, meaning the drug's effects last an unusually long time and intensify before fading. But that's not all. The molecule unbinds very slowly from the opioid receptors in the brain. In turn, nitazines have a reduced sensitivity to life-saving drugs like naloxone. Naloxone is a compound
no
typically
way,
used to reverse the
Narcan.
effects of an
No
opioid
way. So they would have to create science. I don't know why I said we, like I'm like I'm a scientist. So scientists will have to create a variation of Narcan that can come. Oh my gosh. Yo. Now I'm even more concerned, bro. Now I'm even more concerned. Now I'm more angry at these people. The fact that would create something that can kill a person and we have nothing to stop it, because they still have to create a different version of Narcan.
It does this by displacing the opioid molecule at the brain's
All for
receptors,
money.
and it's effective for
All for
morphine,
money.
heroin, and even fentanyl. But nitazines make this process mechanically difficult, and multiple doses are often required to stop someone from slipping back into overdose. Simply put,
Oh
it's
my
stronger,
gosh.
harder to treat, and it lasts much
2
longer
to 4
than other
doses
opioids.
needed, bro.
The scientists shelved the project. Nitazines are never approved for medical use. The findings are published in
It's too late. This was all in, 1957? probably a few years after that as well. Not too sure.
Medical
I'm
journals,
just
which
judging
faded to
by the
scientific
video.
obscurity. History became legend. Legend became myth. And for 7 decades, nitazines passed out of all knowledge. Until 2019.
How did it get out?
The opioid epidemic in the US has been fueled by an influx of precursor chemicals coming from China. They're usually transported to Mexico, where they're turned into fentanyl and smuggled over the border. Trump has blamed the Chinese government for the crisis and partially used it to justify higher and higher tariffs.
They are doing that, yes. But they are paying right now a 20% tariff because of fentanyl, based on the fact that they're sending fentanyl to Mexico and Canada.
The CPC claims fentanyl is an America problem.
我们多次表明，芬太尼是美国的问题，不是。
Nigga. What? And I'm not gonna sit here and argue between like who's good between America and China. But if everybody can find out and say, oh yeah, this fentanyl is coming from China, then it is a China problem, gang. Let's forget about the politics of, Trump and China for a second, because I know that it starts heated debates from, certain types of people. If a lot of countries can say, yeah, this fentanyl is coming, the same way we can pinpoint that opium is coming from Afghanistan. That's an Afghanistan problem, right? If it is true that fentanyl is coming from China and other, independent teams who are not involved with the US government say this fentanyl is coming from China, and it is a China problem.
Some fentanyl analogs were banned in 2015, and a more complete ban followed in 2019. That year, China added fentanyl, its analogs, and a variety of precursor chemicals to their list of controlled substances as an act of good faith. On paper, this was a good move, but in practice it meant that the companies making fentanyl were pushed into a perpetual cat-and-mouse game with the government. If they couldn't sell fentanyl anymore, they simply had to look for new, unregulated...
Oh, so they probably said it's not a China problem anymore because we already did the work. We already banned it. We already arresting them. I assume that's why they said it's not a China problem.
Synthetic. This is a clandestine drug lab in Zhengzhou, China. These chemists are poking around in old medical journals trying to find new opioids they can synthesize. Eventually, they stumble on papers about nitazines, which tick all the boxes. It's a largely unheard of compound, it's easy to synthesize, and it's extremely potent. And more importantly, it's not yet banned by the government. They've struck synthetic gold. Within a few months, small packages of nitazine analogs start hitting countries all around the world. So just how easy is it to buy one of the most dangerous drugs on Earth? We wanted to find out. Warning, do not try this at home. Step 1. Do 15
Yeah. To all you guys as well watching, don't try this at home. You guys heard that I actually don't like this shit. So don't try it, bro. Don't.
minutes of research
It's
to
not,
find an article that mentions
WWE.
online B2B
Don't do this shit.
marketplaces with potential listings from Chinese vendors selling nitazines. Step 2. Go to the B2B platform and search for nitazines. See that the listings with the keyword have been removed. Step 3. Search for
This fucking
known as
Alibaba.
common analog found on the street.
Why would I say that out loud? He said B2B, and one of the biggest B2Bs isn't it Alibaba? I don't know. Don't go there, bro. Alibaba, you'll be scammed. They will scam you. Don't go there.
Immediately find listings for multiple vendors. Step 4. Download Telegram and contact the number listed on the photo of a bag of nondescript drugs. Step 5.
Damn,
Within
I'm
12
surprised. I thought they would be using Signal. Signal is far better than Telegram.
hours, get an
And
answer.
I guess could be like more people are more used to Telegram.
How much you want to
No.
buy? Smiley face. Clarify that you want to order a test sample and have it shipped to Europe. Step 6. Find out that it will cost $160, including shipping.
Including shipping? $160? Including shipping. Wow, this is cheaper than RAM. You could get a kilogram of nitazines for less than the price of RAM and then make more money than it would ever. Wow.
with either UPS, FedEx, or DHL. Step
Hey, this is a Chinese thing. To all those who've never interacted with a Chinese seller before, this whole deer thing and the emoji thing, that is so Chinese, bro. That is such a Chinese thing. I don't know why they use it. I don't know why, and don't ask how and why I was in contact with a
Send them an
Chinese seller.
address and pay with their link.
Don't ask me.
Congratulations.
Don't
You've now
ask me
bought
nonsense,
one of the most
please.
powerful opioids in the world. And if by any chance your package is intercepted, there's a reshipment guarantee. 5 stars on the flag, 5 stars for the customer service. We didn't do that last step, by the way, so the stuff never arrived. But we were casually offered kilos of isotoniazines by this vendor, enough to harm a lot of people.
Europe seizes maybe
wow.
10 to 20 kilos a year, while at the same time we seize 400 tons of cocaine a year. That's a big difference. But still, with 10 kilos of nitazines, you could kill the whole city of Berlin.
Oh my
The kilo we
gosh.
could have bought easy peasy could theoretically kill well over 100,000 people.
And it's for $160. I need you guys to remember that. How much is a gun? Is it cheaper? Is it cheaper? Let me know space. I'm not in that shit, bro. But I feel like it's cheaper. You could kill 100,000 people. Insane, bro.
By 2025, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime was tracking 26 distinct nitazine analogs in 30 countries
Yeah, a
around
copy
the
of
world.
a copy that
And just
became
like
an
fentanyl
original.
in the US, nitazines are likely here to stay, or they might be replaced by yet another novel substance as the game of cat and mouse continues. Substances are declared illegal, so labs look for new, unregulated alternatives. For organized crime groups, the upside of selling potent synthetics is simply too high.
I wonder if, like these drug creators or scientists or whatever they want to call themselves, I wonder if they are more proactive or reactive, because a lot of governments are reactive. They wait until things get worse and then start acting. I wonder if like they're already prepared, like drug scientists, drug synthesizers. I think that's the word, synthesizers, whatever that word is. I believe that's the word. I wonder if they're already ready. Like after this netizines, if somehow like the government say like, yeah, we're arresting people, we're giving crazy jail times, we're doing this, all that. I wonder if they'll be ready like, okay, that doesn't matter. Boom, here's another one. We're ready already. So I wonder if they're proactive or reactive.
1 kilogram can be equivalent to trafficking 50 kilograms of heroin. Shipments
No.
smaller.
Their jail time needs to be higher. Their jail time needs to be higher, bro. Their punishment needs to be higher. 1 kilogram is what? What did he say? 50? 50? Did he say 50? I don't know, bro. My emotions once I seen these bricks, I was like, I stopped listening, bro. My emotions took over. They need higher jail times, bro. They need
Makes them
higher
easier
jail
to hide
times.
in the mail. And it's more than just logistics. Once criminal organizations invest in synthetic opioid infrastructure and expertise, economic logic suggests they won't go back to the less efficient, higher risk, and lower margin heroin trade.
They
On top of
hold
that, synthetic
What's his
opioid
name,
production
Ahmed?
isn't affected by agricultural vulnerabilities. No weather patterns, no growing seasons, no political instability in source countries. Production can happen year-round in clandestine laboratories.
Oh, yeah, no,
and you
that's
can set those up
dangerous.
just about anywhere.
No
using
downtime,
precursor chemicals
that's
sourced from the global
dangerous.
chemical industry.
They've basically optimized everything. They are optimizing this shit in real time. Wow.
The Taliban lifted their ban and Afghan opium production rebounded, the superior profitability of synthetics would likely win out. So, is Europe prepared?
Is Europe prepared, man? Is the world prepared, bro? We need
Let's start
every
with law
government should be
enforcement.
working together
Currently,
to stop
their focus
this.
is elsewhere.
Cocaine was basically conquering all over Europe. So everyone was very afraid about cocaine. If you want to put it like briefly, you would say European law enforcement authorities were looking west, right? So where the cocaine's coming from, but not looking east, where opioids are coming from and heroin.
Without bodies piling up because of synthetic opioids, there's little incentive for law enforcement to allocate significant resources to stop them.
And when you compare, for example,
This goes back to the reactive or proactive thing I was talking about. A lot of governments are reactive and wait until things get worse and then they start acting.
seizures, right? Seizures are always a good expression of not what's actually happening, but a good expression of law enforcement priorities. Last year in Germany, we have, I think, 24 tons of cocaine being seized, but 140 kilos of heroin. That is a very small number if you consider the size of the German heroin market, but it's simply because no one was looking for it. So when they would look for it, they would find it.
Even if it was a priority, it's unclear how much of the synthetic opioid supply law enforcement could realistically curb. Picture an hourglass. At each stage, the width of the hourglass represents how many people are involved. At the top, hundreds of thousands of farming households grow coca plants, mostly in Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia. Then the funnel narrows. Far fewer people refine coca leaves into cocaine. Fewer still are the smugglers and top-level importers who move it into consumer countries. This is the bottleneck. At the bottom, the hourglass widens back out. The number of wholesale dealers increases, and they branch out to countless street-level sellers. Each hand it passes through increases the drug's price, until finally it reaches the consumer. But synthetic opioids like nitazines are reaching users in much more direct ways.
It's important to understand that this is not the traditional organized crime you may have in mind, running this market with synthetic opioids. This is not like Drangheta or Mexican cartels or Colombian cartels.
Bro, it's
This is
all
mostly an
online.
online phenomenon. So
my
this
gosh.
market
What
only
the fuck?
becomes physical the moment the drug
Yo.
reaches the user.
It's shockingly easy to order these substances online, so easy that it flattens the supply chain almost entirely. Producers in China mail small packages directly to street-level dealers and even end users.
When basically the whole supply is coming by mailing shipment somewhere from China within millions of parcels coming from China every day to Europe. And you're looking for, what, like 100 grams of fentanyl? Or even a kilo of nitazines? It's impossible.
Wow.
This also means that doors open to an entirely new kind of end user.
I'm totally
There is a risk, and
speechless,
there's a
bro.
growing risk that on these basically completely uncontrolled online markets, these substances find their way into drug user communities and especially non-traditional drug user communities. So it's young people that are very absent from these traditional street markets for heroin that we have.
Oh, basically, because with traditional drugs, like you would have to meet a dealer, you would have to know the guy, you would have to deal with shady figures. This drug, nitazine, and the way it's being supplied, basically removes all of that. So they're kind of becoming like an Amazon. There's no need for anymore to go outside to go meet this guy in a sketchy park in a sketchy thing. Like none of that. You can just simply DoorDash, Amazon, just get that. That's why it's becoming so dangerous and so concerning, because the average person can now just get it without a single thought. All you need is the money, the correct website, boom, at your door, assuming they don't seize it. Wow.
Had in Europe.
According to Dr. Arne Christian Skolberg from Oslo University Hospital in Norway, there have been multiple cases of young people ordering a pill online to check it out, taking it in their room, and being found dead by their parents.
Gosh.
Synthetic opioids like nitazines are sometimes bought and used knowingly, often by experimental users who like to try new highs. But often, nitazines are simply hidden in other substances. Users seek out prescription medications like OxyContin or Xanax, which they assume were produced by pharmaceutical companies. Dealers take advantage of this
they're
trust
being
to create
laced?
and sell counterfeit pills which don't contain these drugs at all. But why would they do that?
Why would you even contaminate, or why would you even lace another product with something so potent that there's
Only to
risk
get
of actually
them
killing your customers,
addicted
especially
or
if they have a
something, I
very
don't
low
know.
tolerance for opioids? And the question is not so easy to answer, and it's a lot of guessing, but we assume that basically with a very little amount of a synthetic opioid like nitazines, you can convert an incredible high amount of useless, cheap material into a highly potent drug.
In short, it's cheap. Press a bunch of junk with a teeny tiny
Oh
amount
my
of some
gosh,
nitazine
now-
analog.
These gotta be the dumbest drug dealers. You're literally killing your customers. Wow. All because it's cheap and for money. Like they're not even thinking of next year. They're thinking of next week, 2 days from now. They want this thing gone that quick, and they're not thinking. In their mind, all these people are replaceable.
And ta-da, you have pills that get people crazy high. If one of these pills contains just a few salt-sized grains too much, it's instant death.
And they're also probably
But
trying to
hey,
get them
the
addicted as fast as
margins,
possible.
Oh, man. Drug busts and arrests often do little to curb supply or improve the health of user communities. That's where prevention, treatment, and education come into play. On the streets, heroin users are being effectively warned about contaminated drug supplies thanks to the work of harm reduction services.
Every time there is a batch of heroin that is contaminated, there's warnings, there's information. basically traditional heroin user community is a street-level community, and it's accessible for street workers for information, for awareness raising, so that works quite well.
But these services aren't available everywhere, and they're rarely able to help users who buy their drugs online from the privacy of their bedrooms. Across Europe, drug consumption rooms, needle clinics, and substitute programs are somewhat accessible, but still limited. They're known to help traditional drug users, but they won't be as effective for a teenager who buys an anti-anxiety pill online, accidentally encounters nitazines, and immediately overdoses.
Oh my God, bro.
Another challenge is to fight
How
the
do they
current
even
blind spot in
find out
detection.
about these things?
Toxicology tests used across Europe were designed to detect traditional opioids like heroin, but nitazines are structurally distinct, meaning standard screenings simply don't register them. Conventional fentanyl test strips are equally useless. Post-mortem examinations also routinely miss nitazines. This leads health officials to underestimate their presence.
You've actually
until
created
series
a
of
drug
suspicious
so
deaths
crazy,
forces a
bro.
closer look. Beyond
It's actually
detection,
a crazy
Europe
drug.
needs modern alarm systems. Wetanos in Wales and the Loop in England test drugs that are sent in anonymously and provide alerts about contaminated batches. These services are accessible to the public, but even today, relatively few people use them. Some countries have started to deploy wastewater analysis as an early warning system. They use it to detect nitazene metabolites in communities, hopefully before overdoses occur. But these services remain rare and isolated to a handful of nations. Another challenge is getting first response drugs like naloxone into the hands of the public. It's less effective against nitazines than it is fentanyl, but it's still crucial to saving lives. Over-the-counter naloxone is available in only 5 countries: Denmark, France, Italy, Sweden, and most recently, Germany. In all others, it's only available with a doctor's prescription, so far fewer people have access. At the end of the day,
Honestly, I thought it was available over the counter in the US.
there's a lot more to be done.
I would assume it would be available
Most
over the
emergency
counter.
services haven't adopted nitazene-specific treatment protocols. Law enforcement still lacks the intelligence infrastructure to intercept small packages in the mail. And, perhaps most critically, awareness campaigns have largely failed to reach non-opioid users. Not enough young Europeans know about this trend. They simply don't know that a pill or powder they order somewhere online could be laced with a ridiculously deadly lab-made substance. There is a silver lining. Experts like Daniel and his colleagues are on a mission.
What we do as an organization,
get 'em,
we
bruh.
make
Go
organized
get 'em.
crime visible. We research it, we report about it in order to bring it to the attention of the broader public, to governments, to authorities, in order to bring it on the agenda, in order to
Hey,
trigger
I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part low key by making sure you watch this video. You probably would have avoided the video, bro. But I did my part. Don't do drugs. And if you ever want to do drugs, stay to weed, bro. You don't need to go any further. And I understand this may come as, some of you might view it bad, but like these people are gonna try to do something. Might as well try to give them something that has the least damage possible. And and if things go bad, there's already solutions to the problem. That's it. I'm just trying to be helpful and realistic at the same time.
reactions in making basically the life more complicated for organized crime, because in a setting where they're invisible, they're living their best life, and we want to change that.
One thing we can all do is help to raise awareness. If you know someone who might be at risk, make sure they know about the dangers of nitazines. Tell them to get their drugs tested.
Please be cautious out there, bro. I understand it may seem fun. I understand you may think you need it. I'm gonna be honest, that shit is not gonna help you, bro. Not gonna solve your problem. Only a bandage over a big wound. And a bandage can only cover so much. A bandage can only cover so much, gang.
Tested if they can. If they go to certain parties, tell them to carry naloxone whenever possible.
Don't take random drugs at parties. I ain't gonna lie, that one is I'm not even like, don't take any random shit at a party, bro. Don't. I've never done that in my life, and I never will. You don't ever need to take anything from a party. Ever. There's never a need.
And of course, there is help out there for people who struggle with substance abuse. Find links in the description.
I'm gonna put those links in my description as well. Yo, it's Chiotu, and I'm out of here, bro. Take care of yourselves, please. Take care of those who are around you, and be kind to each other, bro. I'm out of here.